Hey, what's up YouTube? My name's Cameron Doherty, here with another tech video. Today I'm going to be unboxing this, the Razer Pro Type, a productivity-focused keyboard from the gaming-focused brand Razer. We're going to look at the overall features and feel, and I'll let you know my first impressions. Alright, so if you've watched the channel before, then you might be familiar with the fact that I am somewhat of a loyalist when it comes to these peripherals, and that's for Logitech. I've had a lot of Logitech products in my life, and most recently I've been using the Logitech MX keys for well over a year at this point as my daily driver keyboard. When I heard about this competitor, I decided, hey, let's give that a try for a couple reasons. Number one, I think it's interesting to see a brand like Razer go from the gaming space and try to enter the productivity space. And also because this is a mechanical keyboard, and I'm interested in how this compares and how I like or dislike productivity on mechanical switches. So let's get this open and see what it feels like, and then we'll talk more about overall making this transition. All right, so when we open it up, we are first met with some documentation at the top. So we've got what's inside, details, setup, legal documentation, nothing too crazy. The keyboard here in this nice clear plastic packaging, so it jumps right out at you. Kind of give them negative points here based on the fact that this is a clear hard plastic rather than doing it in a more sustainable material. They should look to improve that as soon as possible, because I think everybody should be shipping these peripherals in eco-friendly packaging at this point in time. Pull out the keyboard. Other than that, very simple packaging. You've got the keyboard itself, you've got the cable, and you've got that sort of instruction manual, and that is it. So we will put the box aside. Take a look at the cable first, the less exciting component here. This is a soft touch bag, which I like the feel of, but I wonder, once again, sustainability of a plastic bag like this, if there's not a better way for them to do it. This is actually a very nice cable. So we've got a fully braided cable, USB-A to USB-C. So this is a USB-C powered keyboard, which is great. I'd struggle to buy anything that wasn't running off of USB-C at this point. That's huge marks against a peripheral, in my opinion, especially if you're going to be paying at this premium price tag. And that's probably a good next thing to talk about is how much does this thing cost? Because if you are looking at these keyboards, you have to know that they are not discount keyboards whatsoever. And so my reference point coming in was looking at the Logitech MX keys. And I want to make a full video about this because I find it really interesting. The price point when I bought my Logitech MX keys over a year ago was $99. And recently I've noticed that the price firsthand, like from Logitech, not retailers or anything like that, has increased to $120. So a 20% increase is substantial, but I think it's a sign of the times, and I think probably we're gonna see more products like that. And so $120 is now the baseline of the keyboard I've been using. This one here, the Pro Type, goes for $140. I happened to grab it on sale, and I will link down in the description. Hopefully that sale is still going if you're interested. But that had it down to $110. So I paid $110 for this keyboard. There is also an Ultra version, and we'll talk a little bit more about those specific details. But the Ultra version is $160. So a little bit more premium in terms of base price than Logitech, but you are getting mechanical switches and a lot of the same features. So let's go ahead and get this plastic off and see what this keyboard really feels like. So there's that plastic. Definitely hope that this is recyclable. Otherwise, marks against them for that. Okay, so overall keyboard here. It is a beautiful white color and kind of carries throughout silver metallic accents. The whole top here is metal, which feels very nice and premium. It's a little bit, it's heavy. It's not as heavy as I expected. I wasn't sure. For context, I am not a mechanical keyboard fanatic. I don't own any mechanical keyboards until this today. So I am not, an authority on talking about the details of key switches or anything like that. So apologies, I'm gonna do my best, but there's a lot of other people out there, a lot of great resources if you wanna get into the really nitty-gritty details about mechanical switches. For me, this is a nice solid keyboard. It's got nice design. One thing I do look forward to trying that the MX Keys does not have are adjustable feet. And so there are 2 different levels, so you can adjust just the small foot here, or you can pull out this whole thing for a large foot. And so that allows you to change, I think it's 6 degrees and 9 degrees as the angle. And so that allows you to get to 3 different really typing angles, because you could do it from flat or from either of the 2 feet. And so it really does give you completely, very different angles to type at. This is almost a little I need to go over because of the taller mechanical keys compared to a low profile keyboard like I'm used to. I'm wondering, I feel like the 6 degrees, the lower one, is probably where I'm gonna at least start. That feels the most natural. The 9 feels a little bit steep for me. But that is one thing I'm looking forward to, is being able to find more of an ergonomic position for the keyboard rather than one of the drawbacks of the MX Keys of just having it be one solid position that you can't adjust at all. Other than that, the overall feature set here is pretty comparable to what you're getting on these similar keyboards. I'm gonna keep referring to the Logitech MX Keys, but there's others out there as well. This can connect to multiple devices. They quote that it can go up to 4 devices. I know you can use it in a wired mode with the USB-C connector. It does do Bluetooth, or there should be, there is a USB dongle on the bottom here with a nice little magnetic housing here to keep it. And so there's switching using the function button and 1, 2, 3 that allows you to switch between 3 devices. So I'm a little confused. I'm assuming they mean the corded one is the 4th, but I'm not exactly certain. So I'll report back in my full review about the multi-device functionality, but it is there, which is really good for me because if you watch my review of the Logitech MX Keys, I absolutely love the multi-device functionality, and it's something that I would not want to move away from having the ability to do. Otherwise here, you've got a full-size keyboard, so you've got the 10 key, which I love because I do a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of number typing, and I just am much more familiar and used to the numpad rather than going across the top. And one thing to think about here is the fact that this is a very traditional setup. And so it's quite interesting. I got a lot of feedback about the location of function keys in my MX Keys video. And one thing that I called out is that what I was used to is having the F2, because that's a key that I use a lot in spreadsheets, pretty much directly over the number 2. And some people immediately responded, agreeing, identifying with it, and realizing what a challenge that would be for them to adjust. Then I had other people that were saying, actually, that's normal. What you're used to is not normal. And so I've thought about it more, and I've looked at different keyboards and keyboard layouts, and I think the difference is whether you're used to coming from a more traditional, mechanical style or mechanical keyboard layout, or if you're used to typing on a laptop. And so laptop and these more condensed keyboards have smushed everything together so much that if you look at most laptop keyboards, you're gonna notice that those F1, F2, F3 are gonna be roughly above their corresponding number. So for me, being used to that and then sticking with a low profile keyboard, I think my mind was expecting that, and I think a lot of other people also were. But for somebody that's coming from a keyboard like this in the more traditional, like old school setup where you've got the escape key and then gaps in your function keys, for those people, this will feel natural, and this is much more like what the MX Keys was. So I get it now why they made that decision, but it's still, for me, who has to go when I travel to using the keyboard on my laptop just for ease, to then switching back and forth, it's a challenge for me. So I wish that I could just push them all over and have them line up on these keyboards, but once again, the function keys more so line up. 1 is over 2, F2 is over 3, etc. That's the keyboard layout. Otherwise, there are some function controls on here. So we do have media controls Looks like we have volume up, volume down, and mute, which has a corresponding function key to be able to use those. Play, pause, forward and back, and then brightness controls. This is a backlit keyboard. It does light up with a white LED that goes with the overall white theme. You might be expecting with a brand like Razer that it would be RGB, but this is designed for the professional audience, a little bit more classy. And so just very basic, white keyboard, only one color LEDs. Other keys are very standard. I'm not noticing anything on here that jumps out at me as unusual. Like I mentioned, we don't have any specialty keys. Like the MX Keys has a calculator button. It has some other specific buttons. There's a lock button for locking your computer. And then it also has the immediate switching button. So in this case, you're having to do function 1, 2, 3 to switch between devices. Totally fine as far as I'm concerned. I do think it's funny that Razer advertises that as one click, even though you're having to physically click 2 keys. But you know, I'll let them slide on that one. I really think it is a perfectly fine mechanic for somebody to get used to. So yeah, I think that's everything to cover in terms of the physical layout. Oh, I guess on the back here, on the back is where you do plug in your USB-C cable for charging or for wired use. And there is a switch back here. And so if you leave it in the middle position, my understanding is that that would be if you wanted to use only your wired connection. Now, if you want to use either Bluetooth or the USB dongle, you would switch to either the Bluetooth setting or to the 2.4, I believe that's the gigahertz connection. So that's a little bit different. It's rather than just being an on-off switch, it is specifically calling out which function you're using. I did see, if we switch it into Bluetooth, you can see the LEDs lighting up. Around here, it looks a little bit blue, which I think is just overall the way the lighting is coming off with what's around here, but they are white LEDs with a white keyboard. So the last thing to do is the typing experience. I know with mechanical keys, there is always an emphasis on the feel, on things like how far the travel is, where the actual registering of the click is, and then also sound. And so there's numerous different switches. There's a common brand standard of the cherry switches that a lot of people refer to those colors. And then in this case, Razer does make their own switches. And so from what I could tell, the only real difference, well, there's 2 differences between this keyboard, the Pro Type, and the Pro Type Ultra, that $160 model I referenced before, is an armrest or a wrist rest and the types of switches that are used. So this one here, the lower end, if you will, obviously doesn't come with a wrist rest, and it uses the Razer orange switches. And so they describe those as quiet yet tactile. And so I'm expecting there to be a good feeling to the press, a little bit of a click, but also not make too much noise, which is important when you're looking at a productivity keyboard, because someone might want to bring this into an office. They might be working from home and being on the phone and wanting to make sure that they're not having an unreasonably loud keyboard that is going to disturb the people they're working with or around. And then whereas on the Ultra version, they use the Razer yellow switches, and those are linear switches, and they are just defined as silent. So I don't have a direct comparison here, but I'll make sure that we get some good audio of this specific switch so that you can hear that. And then also there's some great videos out there. Hardware Canucks did one looking at the excruciating details, the specifics behind each of the different switch types from Razer, and it has audio and all of that. So if you want to really dive deep, feel free to check out one of their videos. But in terms of what you'll get here for this $140 keyboard, or on sale for $110, here's what these sound like. overall, I'm impressed. I'm happy with it. This is, like I said, I don't have a ton of background on these types of switches, so I didn't know what I was getting myself into 100%. I do like the amount of travel. I think it's gonna take getting used to for sure, because I'm used to either low profile laptop keys or the MX keys, which is also low profile with a limited amount of travel. And so it takes a lot more distance in order to register a click. But there's not, it's very light, the feeling. There's not a lot of pressure needed. And there's not, I was a little bit worried about it being tactile in that it might be a little bit clickier than I like, because I am not somebody that's a fan of really clicky feeling keys. But this is very smooth. There's definitely a bit of there's like that sort of thunk sound when you get to the bottom, but it is not something that is super loud. I don't think it's going to be resonating through my house when I'm working, or if I were to bring this to the office, I don't think it's gonna drive anybody nuts. So I'm happy with it. I think this is striking that balance of getting mechanical keys in a nice polished appearance that's designed for productivity, switching devices, and having that easy to use experience with a full-size keyboard. So we'll see. I'm really curious. I'm gonna make this my daily driver. I'm gonna give it at least a few weeks, if not a few months, before I put together a formal review about what I think. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys want me to either test specifically? What questions do you want answered? Are there things about this compared to the Logitech MX keys that you're curious about? Let me know down below, and I'll make sure to incorporate those when I make the final video. So I'm looking forward to this. This is gonna be the first time I've changed my keyboard, as I mentioned, in well over a year, probably approaching about a year and a half at this point. And so it's gonna be a learning curve. I'm excited to give it a try, and we'll see where I land. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you see, if you wanna see more about this keyboard and about other keyboards, feel free to hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy what you see, remember that the likes are always free, and those subs, they don't cost anything either. So thanks so much. I'll see you guys in the next one.